Hi, welcome for our online training sessions. Key flex fields are used to capture the key information from the end user. When I say key information, that is important for an organization. That information the organizations wants to capture in code as well as in the meaning. Generally, in descriptive flex field and extensible flex field, information will be captured as it is. When I say as it is, whatever we enter in the front end, it will be saved into the database tables as it is in the attribute columns or information columns. But when it comes for the key flex field, the information will be captured in two formats. One is in code, another one is in the meaning. So that what the organizations can do is whenever they want to hide the data, they'll go for display the code. When they want to display the data, they'll go for display the description. So two things will be there. One is code as well as another one is a description. Now the client is asking, there are total 11 key flex fields we have in Fusion applications. Out of that, in human capital management, there are two key flex field, people group key flex field. Another one is cost allocation key flex field. This people group key flex field is there in global HR module. Cost allocation key flex field is there in the payroll module. This is to calculate the payroll cost for a particular legislative data group. When we are running the payroll, we'll be paying different elements to the employees. That time the organizations wants to calculate the cost element wise, or they wanted to calculate the cost LDZ wise, then we'll find this payroll cost. We'll be defining the segments. We'll talk about that later. Now we are working with the people group key flex field. So client wants to say that when they are hiring an employees, they would like to go for add two more fields. What is the skill code for the organizations and as well as which location the employees are working. So skill code, another one is a location code. Two fields we wanted to go for add. And client is telling that for skill code, we wanted to display ORA. Description is Oracle. Another one is DB, stands for database. Another one is OAC, stands for Oracle Analytics Cloud. That's the value set we wanted to provide for skill set. Another one is a location code. This we would like to provide NY, New York. Another one is LA, Los Angeles. Another one is AT, Atlanta. So that's the value sets we wanted to work first. So what we have to do here is first we have to create value sets. Two value sets are required here. One is for skill code, another one is for location code. And client is telling us code is this one and the description is this. Okay. So both are static values. When I say static, fixed values, we are trying to display to the user. So here we are going to display this values. Independent value set will be used. We'll use this independent value set here. Let's go for value set here. Now go to user menu, setup and maintenance. When we are working with the flex fields, obviously we have to work with value sets. Without value sets, we cannot create a flex field segment. It's not possible because it's a mandatory field while configuring the segment. Choose any implementation project. And we have already the task list called flex fields. Otherwise, you can go for add from here. And here is the value set. Let me complete two value sets first. These two value sets will complete first. RTL skill code. You can choose any module. It's not important. So we can choose, let's say this is for global HR. This is for global HR, independent character data type text. maximum length. If we look at our value set, this is the main value. This is all our description. Description, we can have any length, not a problem. But whatever the main value, whatever the values you want to display, what is the maximum size, you want to have the capital letters, you can choose that. It's a 3 letters. I'm going to specify 3 and uppercase only and go for save this particular record. Click manage values button. Here we will go for enter the values. So first one is ORA. We are going to have, this is your code and this is description. This code we can include the numbers also. If required, we can also have the number or alphanumeric. It's up to the requirement. We can go for setup. Then database we required. And then we required OAC Oracle Analytics Cloud. This is one value set we have created successfully. Let me go for create another value set here. RTL location details. Choose the module and choose validation type. And if we look at here, maximum size only 2 characters, capital letters. So that's fine. Text. Specify the length 2 uppercase. Save this record. Manage values. Here we will go for New York. Los Angeles. We'll go for save it, save and close. So we created 2 value sets successfully here. We have created 2 value sets successfully. One is RTL skill code, another one is RTL location details. 2 value sets we have created. Once our value sets are ready, then we will be able to configure the flux field. Okay, now we are going for key flux field. Let's open the key flux field task here. Total 11 key flux fields we have in Fusion applications. Like if we talk about financials, accounting key flux field. In other modules, we have other key flux fields. But when it comes for human capital management, we have 2 key flux fields. One is people group key flux field. This is used to capture the people information, nothing but employees additional information. And this is for payroll, which is going to be payroll cost allocation key flux. When we are going to pay the salaries to the employees, we are supposed to calculate the cost for the organizations, different levels, department wise, element wise, BU wise. We can go for define the hierarchy. For that, we will use the payroll cost allocation key flux. Okay, so now we are talking about this one, people group key flux. Before we start working on this particular key flux field, first what we have to do is we have to verify the deployment status. It's already success. Then we'll go for define the structure. What is meant by structure? Structure is nothing but a group of segments which we are going to provide to the client. How many segments are required here? 2 segments. Segment means fields. Can we define multiple structures? Yes. We can assign one structure to India employees, one structure to US employees, one structures to Europe countries. Depends. Location wise, business unit, we can go for assign. Okay. So we can define the multiple structures. Once we define the structure, we must have the instance. Instance is nothing but alias name for your structure. Whatever the structure we have defined, the same structure, you are going to have the instance here. It's an alias name. Is it mandatory? Yes. We must create an instance. Okay. Can we create multiple instances for single structure? Yes, we can create. Why this instance is required? What is the purpose? Some client says that I want the same structure. I want the same structure for another company, means another legal entity. but this location value should be different. I don't want this values. I want to change, but structure is same. Segments are same. In that scenario, instead of creating the new structure, we will go for create. We will go for create a structure instance. We'll go for create a structure instance over here directly. So that's the purpose of structure instance. Okay, let me create first structure. Before we go for create a structure, we can search any built-in structures are already available. Yes, this many structures are already available. Now we are going to create according to our requirement. Let's go for create this. I'm going to specify structure code. People group key flex field. You can have the name, description. Internally, when we are going to keep this data, how the data should be stored. If the segments are combined, how the data will be separated. Separated is nothing but a delimited. So I would like to use hyper. Enable or disable this structure depends on the requirement. We can go for enable or disable the structure here. Now here we are going to define the segments. Before we go for create a segment, here we'll click the save button. Now it will allow us to go for add the segments here. Now here segment code, RTL skill code I am going to give. API name is for internal purpose. API stands for application programming interface. That we will use it for internal purpose. Technical consultants, they will use this name to exchange the data between the applications by using REST or SOAP APIs. So if they wanted to access this particular segment, instead of this name, they'll be using this name. Yeah. But anyway, that's not required for us. So first field, this is the prompt we would like to have. And what is the display width you wanted to have? 7. And column name we want to go have segment 1. So segment columns are used for the key flux fields. For descriptive flux fields, we will use attribute columns. For extensible flux fields, we will use information columns. Okay, and here is a value set. We are supposed to add the value set code for this. Let's go for search here. And search here, value set here. Click search button. Save and close. We created one segment successfully. Let me go for another segment here. This time the segment name I would like to have RTL location code. Now this is our key flux field structure. We have two segments here. Two segments are defined successfully. Now this is the structure we have defined successfully. So what is meant by structure? Structure is nothing but a group of segments. Group of segments here. So once we define these segments, means once we define this structure, then we are going for structure instance, nothing but alias name for the structure. Go for manage structure instances. If you want to know already instances are already created for our structure or not, we'll search with this. We do not have any instance right now for our structure. Let me go for create this. And now we are going to specify here structure instance code. RTL people group key flux field. Then if you don't enter API, we should not enter, it takes automatic. Enabled dynamic combination creation allowed. It means when we are trying to hire an employee, we can choose any code, any location. For example, right now I can say ORA and New York. I can choose this combination. Next time I can select OAC and again New York. So dynamic combination, I want to give the permission. So we'll check this checkbox. Otherwise, we need to define predefined combination. Then employees are supposed to choose only those combinations and choose our structure. The moment when we select the structure, we'll get the list of segments. We cannot add new segments here, but if you want to customize existing segments, of course, you can do it. Go to edit, and if you want to make it as mandatory, you can make it. If you want to change the value set, you can change. And if you want to access this segment from BI Publisher, we can enable this checkbox or disable, display or hide. These all options will find. So what is the structure instance? Structure instance is nothing but an alias name for your structure. So why Oracle has given this is sometimes client wants to have the same structure for another legal entity, but with different value sets or different properties. That time, instead of creating one more structure, of course, it will allow us to create number of structures, not a problem. But what Oracle says, instead of creating one more, use the same structure, but change the value set or change the properties. When I say properties, these all are properties. This can be changed. Okay, so that's the only purpose of structure instance, otherwise nothing else. And after configuration of this structure instances, we are supposed to deploy it. Deployment is nothing but system is going to verify all the segments, whatever we have configured, all the value sets, whatever we have used, all are valid or not. Our system is showing that it's success. We do not have any errors at this point of time. Let me go to global HR, people group key flex field. I think we have deployed another one. Sometimes the cursor, might be placed in another flex field. Now also it's done. We don't have any issues. Where is that? Here it is. Like this, we have to define all these three steps. Next, this is very, very important in the interview point of view. Once we configure your people group key flex field, how will you assign to the employees? We can assign at two levels. One is enterprise level. Another one is legal entity level. Means legal employer. If you assign your key flex field structure at enterprise level, it's applicable for all the legal entities which are defined within the enterprise. But just now we discussed, right? For India legal entity, I would like to have a separate structure. For US legal entity, I would like to have a separate structure. Then you can also change at legal entity level. So whatever the people group key flux field structure we have defined, that will be associated either at enterprise level or at legal entity level. It's up to our requirement. For example, if we do it at two levels, I have assigned one key flux field structure at enterprise level. One more I have assigned at legal entity level. Which one system will consider for your employees? Legal entity level is the high priority. Always the lowest one is a high priority. If you don't specify any key flux field structure here, then it will consider at enterprise level. Then it will consider at enterprise level. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how we'll associate this at enterprise level. Go to the task, enterprise HCM information. We'll find 3 times this task name, but all are same. Enterprise task is common. So you can see that it's available in compensation management, workforce development, and workforce deployment. And all the 3 offerings we have. So whatever the task we are going to have, this is available in all the three offerings. So that's why if you choose any task, there won't be any difference. I'm just selecting this. We don't find scope because there will be only one enterprise. Directly the task will be open. Now the name of the enterprise is this Philips US Enterprise, and edit correction. Now here we can find people group flux field structure. This is people group flux field structure. And we can find our key flux field structure instance. We can choose this. RTL people group key flux field structure instance and go for submit. We configured at enterprise level, so it's applicable for all the legal entity employees. But client is telling that I want to change for my legal entity another structure. So go for legal entity HCM information. Manage legal entity HCM information. When you go for manage legal entity HCM information, the scope option we got. So what is the meaning of this scope option? It is used to change your legal entity, because we can have either one or multiple legal entities. We are supposed to select which legal entity we are working. Choose this. Now choose this legal entity here. Now the name of the legal entity is US1 legal entity. You can find people group flux field structure. So now if you try to hire an employee for this legal entity, means for this legal employer, system will consider this flux field structure, not the RTL what we have assigned at enterprise level. But if you don't assign any value here, for example, I'm not going to assign any structure for this legal employer, then system will consider at enterprise level. I'm not going to select. You can choose in case if required RTL instance, otherwise you can choose this null value and go for submit. It means we are not assigning any people group key flux field structure for our legal entity. Then obviously system will consider at enterprise level whatever we have assigned. So like this, once we configure people group key flux field structure, we can assign at 2 levels, enterprise level at legal entity level. It's up to the requirement. So right now we did at enterprise level, and for our legal entity, we do not have any structure. Obviously, it will consider the enterprise level. Let's go for hire employees here. Make sure that you have human resource specialist role, so that we'll be able to hire an employees here. Otherwise, go to security console, add the role to the user, hire employee. When we are hiring any employee, we'll have total information at 5 levels. We are going to capture the information at 5 levels. First one is identification, person information, employment information, compensation information, finally review. Identification, person information, employment information, compensation information, finally review. So this is all 5 tabs we are going to have. We'll get at employment level this key flux field. If you want to go for enable the flux fields option, you can choose this highlight flux field option. It's not mandatory, of course. You can choose either current date or future date. Any date we can choose. Now let me take this as go for identification details. Right, go down. Here we can find a key flux field, people group flux field. If you want to know the name of the flux field, we can click on this. We'll get. If you want to configure that, we can do it. Configuration is nothing but a customization. Whatever we have done just now, we can do it from this also. It will directly open the task. And here, the moment when we click on this, we'll find the segments, whatever we have populated. But still, the segments are not populated here. So sometimes what will happen, it takes a couple of minutes time. Okay. So what we can do is just log out from the current user. Let's cancel it. Log out and log in. Now we can find the segments are populated. So it takes a couple of minutes time. Meanwhile, we can just log out and log in. And then the moment whenever we click on this key flux field icon, we'll be able to find two fields here. This is our segment, two segments we have added. In that, we have provided value set, independent value set. This is the code and this is the description. Right. I'm selecting OAC. Another one is location, New York, and press OK. So here it takes only code, description, internal purpose. We can see that code is there. So if we are going to display this information out of the office, then others cannot understand except our company employees. Okay, except our company employees. Here others cannot understand. Okay, let's go for working on this here. For example, if you take some bank account, so you will say that this is my bank account. But actually, from bank point of view, first three are bank city, next three are bank branch, the remaining 6 digits is actually our bank account number. So how many segments are here? 3. One is city, another one is branch, another one is account number, another one is account number. So internally it will be separated here. So this information bank people will give it to the customers, but customer cannot understand unless and until they call to the call center and try to tell the bank account number. Then they'll enter in the system. System will automatically shows 000 means Hyderabad, 801 means Kalyan Nagar, and then account number. Like that, it will shows the description. So this key flux field concept not only in human capital management, everywhere it is implemented. For example, you purchase some laptop, you will find this product. It will be displayed on that laptop. It will be printed. If you get some repair or you need some service or upgrade, you go back to servicing center. They'll ask you, can you tell me your laptop product key? So the moment when you tell the key, they can understand it. Okay, this has manufactured and so date, so badge, and so time this has been sold to customer. Like that, they can track the information. So like that, different levels, it will be captured here. Right now, we are working one of the example in that is called people group key flex. So we have hired an employee and keep it this employee here. So Mr. Kiran Kumar. And we'll go for submit. Go for person management. So we can group the employees like this under some skill set. Segments will be provided by client. The client will provide the list of segments and what values they are required. We are just supposed to configure this according to that and attach to it enterprise, or we have to attach to it legal entity level so that it will be populated. Okay, so this is about the people group key flux field task. People group key flux field task. Okay. Thank you.